Hey gang, hope you're doing great. Tonight is video 2 in my series. I think it's going to be a 3-part series on the Astroasis Oasis electronic focuser. Tonight I'm installing the focuser on my telescope. In the last video, I basically did an unboxing and went through all the different parts and components of the focuser. If you missed that, check it out in the description. I might have something up above here. Anyway, yeah, we'll go ahead and jump in on this. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please leave a like and would love for you to subscribe. Thanks. All right, so let's jump in on this. I'm going to try and leave my image train installed during this because I'm in the middle of a multi-night session and I'm hoping not to disturb that and have a bunch of rotation problems. So we'll see how this goes. The first thing I need to do is remove my my bottom rail here to get it out of the way because I'm going to need to access these screws, or these grub screws. And then I can just set that off to the side. And the next thing I need to do is remove the coarse focuser knob. And there are 2 grub screws that hold that on. I won't take them all the way out. Remove that. And we'll reserve that. I'll be bagging that up, putting it in storage. All right, so the first thing, if I want to take a look at this, I've got a flat side here. And I want to make sure that I get the set screw for the if I can find it here in the adapter. So for the little gear, this will slide on and there's a grub screw that goes with it. I'll need to locate that. This is the mounting bracket, and within it there's a bearing. So let's find that little screw. I may as well get this out too. This is the universal adapter, and this is going to mount right there. I think the screws that I need are in this little packet here. Okay, yeah, I've got an assortment of screws and washers, and there's a grub screw right there. I believe I'll need this. Pick that little guy up. We'll get it started. Looks like it's got a little bit of Loctite on it, and I think I need to go the other direction. No. So that's good to see. You probably can't see it in the video, but there's There's a little bit of Loctite on the threads here, a little blue. And I just want to get that started in there. Okay, and when I slide this on, I want to have that lined up with that flat part on my focuser shaft. So I guess it's important to ensure that this is installed from the factory, which I think I'll double check this set screw here. Yeah, and that's tight. And they want to make sure that this is flush from the center pin to the face of the gear here is flush across the top, which it is. Then I'll slide this on. And just push it all the way back in. Just testing a fit here. As our English friends say, we'll just nip it, so not very tight, just snug. We can make sure that that's tight, which it is. So the next thing, I don't know if this bearing comes out. I think it's set in there. I guess it does. I showed installation of the bearing separately. Goes on there. And I think I'm going to remove these two screws here. Those will get replaced with a couple of these screws from the kit that we gave. I'll reserve those because we won't need them again unless I remove the focuser later. All right. So this universal plate mounts into those two screw holes. And then it's got a couple of holes here for screws that this plate mounts to. So we'll start with this and let's take a look and see what kind of alignment. You won't want to tighten this up at this point. But you can get the screws started. Notice if they use the washers or not. Let's take a look and see. I think that is probably something we want to use. Yeah, the washers slide right down in there perfectly, so we want to use those. Oop. Perhaps not the right thread. Oh, I just didn't have it lined up. All right, that's going in now. All right, that screw's too long, so we'll try the shorter ones. that's right. Just keep that a little bit loose. Screw and washer. All right, so I've got that in, but this is still loose. And then I'm gonna fit this. And we'll screw that together. And the way it looks, we're not gonna use washers on this. Double check. No washers on this. Get them snug, but just be careful not to over tighten. There's no reason for it. Okay, that looks good. We can push this back. In my case, it's going as back as far as it can go. Okay. And at this point, so I wanted to show you the focuser and the gear. What's really interesting about this is the clutch, which can be engaged or disengaged. And the way that this works, it's really some cool engineering. And what I like about it is the simplicity of how it works. So the rotation just simply moves the gear away and disengages it. So it's quite simple, and I like that because there's just not, I mean, there's only the one rotating part there. There's not much that can go wrong with that. So I'm upside down right now. I'm gonna flip this over. And actually first, I need to clamp this on. And so I'm gonna need more screws. Looks like they gave a lot of extras for, I guess, various different types of telescopes and installations. So these 3 screws will be used to mount this clamp to the focuser. And I dropped one. Of course I dropped one. All right, got it. Exactly sure. I think that's everything we want. I want this one. Like it's right. Okay. And then that's going to mount in this direction. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, I was curious about how this would fit. That's meshed. So I think we'll line it up and mesh it so it kind of stays in place. Okay. And then, sorry you can't see this, I'm just tightening this the screw on the clamp. Same thing with this, just give it snug, not over tight. Now this should be mounted securely now. Clutch. Now the focuser lock screw can just come out. We don't need this anymore. As I understand it, there's a grub screw in the very bottom of this that you want to leave it in, but we can remove this block. Then, actually, I think I can just put, just for dust, smaller, so I'm not going to do that. So we'll just leave that alone. And yeah, I think this is basically locked right now. And then if I undo the clutch, now I have manual focus. That's really like the coolest feature. From the top, so at that point, I think we're basically done with the focuser install. So we're ready to test it out and see how it's working. Moving over to the App Store, I'm looking at the Oasis Mate, which is the companion application for the Astroasis Oasis focuser. Scrolling down, I always like to have a look at the privacy policy for the application, and in this case, no data is collected. That's something I really appreciate. I'll go in and take a look at some of the screenshots. They have an offline account option there, so you don't have to create an account. Pretty straightforward. I'll go ahead and install the application. It only took a few seconds. So from there, we'll go ahead and open up the application, and I'm going to move over into actually using the app with the focuser. All right, so I have the focuser plugged into a 12-volt power supply, and I just, as we saw, just got done installing the Oasis Mate software, and I'm at a screen here where it's asking for a password and login and create an account. You don't have to. There's an offline login, so I'm just going to do offline login, and then it gives me an add device, and so I'll click on add device, and then Oasis focuser comes up. Make sure your focuser device has been powered on and Bluetooth is turned on your phone, which it is. So it's searching. Let's see if we'll find it. And it found the Oasis focuser, so I'm going to click on the connect button. And so it is connecting, and it is connected. It says success, click finish to use your device. So we are connected. All right. So this is giving me some information here. I'll read that off, but it's telling me the temperature on the focuser board, which is currently at a little over 29 degrees centigrade, and gives me a max position here of 80,000, 40,000 steps. And to be honest with you, I need to figure out what my focuser step sizes are and get all that configuration done. But let's see. So we should be able to focus out here and in. Let's try out. And perhaps oh yeah, it's going. I need to make the step size bigger. Let's make it like 500. Here, I'll make it even bigger. Let's make it like 3,000. So here's going out. And in. And then it has two different settings. So you've got a fine adjustment, which is currently set to 1, and then the coarse adjustment, which I currently set to 3,000. And the focuser is working great. I'm sure you can see this moving here. Let me turn this around. I'll make this so you can see the focuser knob. And so as you can see there, it's working absolutely fantastic. All right, so next steps are going to be to get this configured in my software and learn more about the step sizes of the focuser and that configuration. And so anyway, we'll see that in the next video. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this was helpful. I think that this was like really simple. Just take your time. I'll put a timer on the video, and we can have a look and see how long that took altogether. I think it was just a little over 20 minutes on the actual installation, maybe something like that, maybe a little more. We'll see. And so anyway, so thank you so much for hanging out with me and doing this Astroasis Oasis focuser installation. I really appreciate you hanging out here with me on my channel. And you know, if you like this, please do give a like and subscribe. Really helps me out with the algorithm and reaching you know, more of an audience and building this channel. So I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Have a good night.